Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks, to the Hungry Gamers, back with another episode of the Monthly Menu. And today we are talking about the 5 most played games in February 2022. Not really, because we're talking really February 15 till March 15, but you get the idea. And as always, I'm going to start out with how did I do on the games that I said I was going to play last month, the prior month. And so we'll start out with the perpetually on the list. That is the list of games my wife and I are trying to play. Did I get any off the list? Yes, I did. I got to get Battle for Greyport, Red Dragon and Battle for Greyport back to the table again. This is a deck building adventure game that I really, really enjoy. I like the world it takes place in. I think the deck building mechanics are great. I love the way it has some dice play in there. You add a little chaos to what's going on. I love that there are no cards you use just to buy more cards. I think that's great. It's very, very hard, and I just think it's wonderful. So got that one off of the list. Number 4 was Clank Legacy. I said it was almost guaranteed that we were going to play it, and we did. We had it on the calendar. We all got together. We played through one of the games. I'm happy to say that I won, though I was not named Employee of the Month, which was a total bummer. But it is every bit as fun as I thought it was going to be. Really looking forward to keeping on and playing through this and finishing this campaign. Now, number 3 was the one that I was like, well, we shall see if it's going to happen. That was Rise of the Gnomes. No, didn't play, not here, still on the water, and it sounds like it's going to be April or May before it actually gets here. So why it is taking so long, I have no idea. I don't know. Slowest boat ever. No idea. But eventually it'll get here. Maybe next month I'll put it back on the list of things that I'm hoping to play. Number 2 on the list was Folklore the Affliction. That's one that I played a bit of as I was working on doing a review for it, but then people had told me that, well, if I'm enjoying it at all, which I was, that I really should get the Fall of the Spire expansion, which adds some more depth to the combat system. And so I put it away, I got that, and then of course I couldn't get it back to the table. But I was hoping I was going to get it back to the table with the Fall of the Spire combat expansion into it. And yes, I did manage to do it the very last day of the month. I got it back onto the table. I got it played a few more times. In fact, I've just recorded my review on the game because I finally got to get enough of it done. I'm almost done with the core campaign as far as that goes as well. And then the last one on the list of games I was hoping to play was Familiar Tales from Plaid Hat Games. And yes, I also got that to the table. I played through 3 of the scenarios, and then I had to stop because I kind of just picked some stuff and I was doing some painting, so it was ready to go, and I picked wrong. I picked some of the wrong stuff. So I got through 3, and I was like, oh, I have to paint these 3 bad guys here. And so that's just not done yet. I've primed them, they're sitting out there ready for me to actually sit down and paint them, but I haven't done it yet. So until I get that done, I can't get back to the table with Familiar Tales. But so far, I've been really enjoying it. Tons and tons of promise here. And the good thing about me putting it away is I'm going to actually come back, and I was playing with the official solo rules. When I come back, I'm going to try playing it with actually just four-handing it. I don't think it'll be too hard, but we're going to find out just to kind of see how that works. So I'm excited for that. So let's get into the actual list, the top 5 most played games for me last month. And so number 5 is a recent Kickstarter delivery from AEG called Meeples and Monsters. This is a bag building style game where you're drawing different colored meeples out of the bag, and the different colored meeples do different things, and you're putting them out on the main board and getting more meeples. And as I said, you're building your bag and you're fighting monsters and you're building buildings. And this is a game that had some people over, and we played, and we screwed up the initial setup. We accidentally put the level 2 monsters out instead of the level 1 monsters out, and so we just spent a lot of time just kind of building up our power before we realized we made that mistake. So the game was a little bit longer, but it took us a long time to notice we did that because we were having such a good time. And a beautiful thing that seems about this game is you can play this game and have conversations because you're just talking. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, well, I got my stuff out of the bag. Okay, I'm going to do this, do this, do this. And really a fun, competitive game. I really enjoyed it. I've also played the solo mode a couple of times. Haven't won the solo yet. The solo is very easy to operate, and I really think I'm digging that as well. So that is Meeples and Monsters at number 5. And number 4 is one that we all know I love. That is Nidavellir. I got that back to the table several times. A lot of times I also got it back to the table digitally on Board Game Arena, but this is, well, it was one of my top games of the year last year. And still a great game, still a lot of fun. The action bidding system is still just great. Set collections, a lot of fun. A just really, really fun game. Now, number 3 on the list is Familiar Tales. Again, I've already talked about this ad nauseum. I really like where this game is going. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with it. And it's just one that I remain very excited about. Is it going to be one of my top games of the year? I don't know. It's way too early, but I'm still very excited about it as I've been playing through. Number 2 is Lost Ruins of Arnak. Now, unfortunately, I've not gotten to play it many times with the expansion, which is kind of holding me back from doing my review, but this is a game that is worth the hype. It had so much hype. I actually didn't play it for a while. I was just like, I don't know. But man, it really is a fun game. The way the deck building works, the way the worker placement works, the way that moving up the tracks works, and the fact that the game is so limited on time. You would never have enough time to do what you want, and I really, really like that. So I'm really enjoying Lost Ruins of Arnak. Which brings me to number 1. And this is maybe, well, maybe not the first, but this is one of the few times when I actually had a game repeat from list to list, and this one it did. Last time it was at the bottom of the list, which makes it very surprising that it moves to the top of the list, but that is Planet Unknown. And I'm not going to go too much into it because I've talked about it again ad nauseum last time, but this is a polyomino game with a lot of simultaneous play, and it plays fantastically on Sovereignty. Again, yes, my digital overlords. But since I talked about it last time, more people have wanted to play it. And I played it a few times solo also on Sovereignty, but more people have wanted to play it since I talked about it, so I've actually played it several more times. It's still a really, really fun game. I think it has to be delivering soonish. It's got to be real close, because I went back and looked at the last update, which was in February, and it was on the boat then. As I'm learning, some of the boats are really slow, but it's got to be coming quite soon. So that brings me into the predictions for next month. And as always, at number 5 is The List. Again, now I'm about to take a little bit of a vacation with my wife. And actually, by the time this video comes out, I'm actually probably already back. But I'm taking a little vacation, and I'm going to put in my backpack a couple of the smaller box games that are on our list. So I'm very confident I'll be able to knock 1, maybe 2 off the list, getting us ever closer to finishing it. Then my number 4 is one that takes the place of Rise of the Gnomes on my list because it comes from the same designer, the same publisher. And when I was at a convention recently, the designer was telling me about it, and I just got tickled and I wanted to try it out. This is called Treasure Mountain from August Games. And this is one that it's competitive worker placement, though it also has a solo. And it's just a few rounds you play through, but as you're playing through the rounds, a round does not end until everybody has put all of their workers out on the board. Makes sense. However, these dwarves and this treasure mountain, as you're going through, you put your dwarf out, and that space is blocked, unless somebody has a dwarf with a longer beard. If they have a longer bearded dwarf comes by, they get the respect, they get to kick you out, which means now they get to use the space. However, that means that dwarf comes back to your player board, and you can use them again somewhere else. And you're doing a little bit of tableau building as you're getting tiles, as you're digging deep into the mountain to get more treasure, and there's dragons out there that you have to fight off the dragons sometimes, and it's really an interesting looking game to me, one that I had never heard of, I'd missed. I saw them playing it, and basically the whole dwarf longer beard thing just totally tickled me. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this, and I got it. It's sitting right over there. I'm really hoping I get to play it this month. The number 3 on my list is one that just showed up yesterday for review, and that is Founders of Teotihuacan. This is a tile laying game where you are kind of building the city, you're building the city of Teotihuacan, and as you're going through, it's got an interesting kind of action selection mechanic where you're placing discs out, which will allow you to take different tiles, and after you've done all of your stuff, your architect will move to a different part of your board, which determines which parts of the city you're able to actually play on. And I don't know a ton about it, just very, very limited. In fact, it's not even out of the shrink yet. I've taken it out of the box. But initially, I had not seen the email that asked me if I was interested in covering it, and it wound up going into spam. Sometimes that happens. But Mark Dainty of Not Board Gaming sent me a message saying that he was really having fun with the solo of it and was really enjoying it. And I was like, gosh, I wish I could get that. But luckily, I found another email from the PR team and was able to secure a copy, and so I'm really looking forward to kind of diving into that one and kind of seeing what's going on with Founders Tale Teotihuacan, because it's not a ton of games that Mark tells me are really, really fun as far as the solo experience goes, and so I'm really excited to check that one out. Now, my number 2 has been on the list before. It is back, and this time I'm going to do it. That is Galaxy Defenders. I want to continue my campaign. I want to finish the core campaign. I'm going to make that happen. Which brings me to my number 1. And this is one that I'm positive will get done because it's got a Kickstarter coming up. Now, I can't play it yet because this is an app-driven game, and this is The Dark Quarter from both Lucky Duck Games and Van Ryder Games. And this is a game, now I don't know a ton about it because the app's not ready, but this is a story-driven, relatively light game where you have your different characters that you're playing as you're kind of doing this investigation, and it takes place in kind of a fantastical version of 1980s New Orleans. And again, app-driven, along the same lines as Destinies is my assumption, with some cool, with what looks like some cool dice play, and a very mature story. This is a game for adults, and exactly how that's going to play out, I don't know. But I have really enjoyed all of my experiences with the app-driven Lucky Duck games. Even if the game is not one of my favorites, the integration has always been very good. And I'm talking about Chronicles of Crime. Very good integration there. Destinies is a fantastic integration there. Divinus, which I'm not sure when that's actually going to deliver, but I backed that one. I'm excited about that one. An excellent, excellent integration with the app. And I think they are really at the cutting edge of these app-driven games. At the same time, the designer of Final Girl with Van Ryder Games is also working on this, and I think the mechanics behind Final Girl are really, really good. So all of that leads me to say I'm really excited about trying this one. So that one I know I'm going to get to the table because there's a campaign coming, and I want to make sure my content's done by then. So there you have it, folks. That is the monthly menu for February 2022. The 5 most played games, my predictions for next month, and how I did with my previous month predictions. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.